Welcome, everyone. It's a special edition of Inside the Birds. I'm Adam Caplan. And the man right there, you see him. Now, you see his number 15. He didn't wear that in the pros. He wore that at University of Tennessee. That's former Bengals second-round pick on the 92 draft, two-time second-team All-Pro, two-time Pro Bowler, and a great football player and a really good guy who I had the fortune of meeting last month. That's Carl Pickens. Carl, good to see you.
Good to be seen, Adam. How are you?
I like that. Yeah, I'm good, man. It's so funny when you and I met at the Philadelphia Sports Business Leaders Conference. They're here. They actually do it in Philly every month.
Yeah.
Justin and his partner are running it every month. In fact, they're having a state college. They're having it in New York.
Yeah.
So let me get started with that. How did you find out about it?
I was on LinkedIn, just wanting to get back into the social media scene. I clicked on their link, and the guys, Justin and Jake, they reached back out. You know, we hooked up, and they said they do some marketing and promotion. I was like, well, cool. What a coincidence. I'm looking to get back into that. And then about 2 weeks later, they said, hey, we have an event in Philadelphia. It's on Wednesday, and it happened to be Thursday. And I was like, oh, wow. And I was like, well, you know, I can't ask somebody for help and then turn it down when they want to help.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I guess I'll see you guys in Philadelphia. And that's how it worked out.
So here's a question. What did you know about Philly before you got there?
Nothing.
Really?
I knew where it was. I played
Okay.
there a few times. Some of my former teammates ended up, you know, playing for the Eagles prior to coming to Cincinnati. But other than that, I knew the Sixers were there. Dr. J was one of my heroes.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that, I know they're famous for the Philly cheesesteaks.
Right.
But not much, really.
All right. So, Carl, one of the interesting things is about your career, and I didn't know this too. You told me. I didn't realize. I want to go back to your high school career. I knew you were a great football player, but I had no idea you were that good of a basketball player. You were a high school All-American in both?
Yeah, I was nominated to the high school All-American team. Yeah, basketball team. Yeah.
Now, here's the question. Did you consider playing both sports in college?
No, I didn't consider that because when I got to Knoxville, they had a decent basketball team. And then about 1 or 2 years later, Allen Houston came in, phenomenal player, had a long career in the NBA with the Pistons and the Knicks. So there was no way I was going to take his spot. And actually, we played against those guys. We scrimmaged that team a lot during the intramural games and stuff like that. But I don't think I was that good because I played out of position. You know, I was playing power forward at 6'1", 6'2", and had I gone to college, I would have had to play guard.
So your football career, now you're from North Carolina. Why did you not stay local? Why did you go to UT?
At that time, UNC was a basketball school. They were good. They were okay in football. Mac Brown came to my house. He recruited me at the time. And he was like, I know I'm too late, but I still wanted to come anyway. And I was like, well, yeah, because at that time I had made up my mind to play football. But Tennessee was a lot closer to home. It was a 2-hour ride versus a 5-hour ride. You know, I still wanted my parents to be able to come and see. They would have traveled regardless, but it was just honestly, Adam, I think it was just divine intervention, man, because the way it worked out, I had committed to South Carolina. Got home, told my mom. She was okay with it. My dad, he didn't really care too much as long as I went somewhere. But I could tell my mom wanted me to go to Tennessee. She would never say it, but, you know, she's my mom. I know she could tell. And then I was like, okay, I think I'm supposed to go to Tennessee. So I changed my mind. I called my old high school coach and asked him to call the Gamecocks and let them know that I had changed my mind.
All right, so let's get to your career at UT. Who were your head coaches when you were there?
Johnny Majors was my head coach the whole time.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and Phil Fulmer was the offensive coordinator at that time.
Who I think Peyton Manning played for Phil Fulmer, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. All right, so one of the interesting things about your career, again, a lot of this stuff I didn't know, that you played with Alvin Harper. A lot of people remember
Yeah.
Alvin Harper signed that big free agent deal with the Bucks. He played
Yeah.
with Cowboys, won titles, but you
Yeah.
also play with a former Eagles first round pick in Antone Davis. I want to start with Alvin Harper,
Yeah.
who had put up some big numbers. Not your numbers, though, that you
Yeah.
put up with the Bengals, but he put up
Yeah.
some big numbers. What do you remember about Harper?
I remember about Harper there at Tennessee. He was my big brother. He still is. We're still in communication
Nice.
today.
Nice.
I mean, Alvin and I will text back and forth. He's out in California now, but he's the one. We played the both X receiver, and when I got there, they moved Alvin, I think, to the Z receiver, and he still took it upon himself, man, to teach me the offense because I was redshirted my freshman year. So my redshirt freshman year, when it was time for me to step up, Alvin really took me under his wing, filled out my test for me as far as the receiver test, and I mean he was a huge help. I mean, kudos to Alvin Harper.
Now, when you talk about you and Alvin, you both could run. I mean, you guys had really good size.
Yeah.
So how did you? So wait, were you playing Z when he was playing X, or how is that?
No, when I got there, Alvin was X receiver, and of course
Yep.
I was redshirt.
Right,
So
right.
then
Okay.
I came out of my red shirt. They moved him to Z and moved me to X receiver.
Okay.
And we had a blast, man. Yeah, Alvin was a high jumper as well. He jumped in high school. He jumped in college. He jumped at UT. I jumped one meet, didn't fare too well, but Alvin jumped at UT. But he was on that intramural basketball team we had.
So going forward here, so you played 3 years at Tennessee.
Yeah.
You got drafted very early in the second round. As a matter of fact, another fact which I find interesting is that there was only one receiver drafted ahead of you, and that was Desmond Howard, who was a phenomenal returner, not much of a receiver, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now, what I find interesting, Carl, is sometimes when you tell like some players, like Amon-Ra St. Brown knows about every single team
Yeah.
by heart without looking. He used that to drive them. Because you were the third pick in the second round, not a first rounder, did that drive you at all?
It did drive me because I had visited a couple of teams, mainly the Denver Broncos. They had the 25th pick. When the Redskins, formerly Redskins, they took Desmond at I think 6. Is either 4 or 6?
Four.
Yeah,
Your former teammate David Klingler,
was
unfortunately,
at 6.
but go ahead. Yeah.
So they took him at 4, and I was like, okay, he's gone because he was the only highest rated receiver ahead of me. So they got him, and I'm thinking, okay, 25 Denver, here I go. I'm going to Denver. It didn't happen, and it disappointed me. It frustrated me, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? Because that's all I thought, man. First round, the prestige of going in the first round. You just that is going to follow you for the rest of your life. Former first round draft pick. You hear that all the time, and that didn't happen. And so now it's like, okay, what am I going to do now? And then now looking back on it, I was like, okay, back to this divine intervention, man. How do I end up in Cincinnati? I was there as a kid every summer. My dad had a sister there. My dad had an auntie there. So I was in Cincinnati every summer as a kid. So I'm like, how does this happen? And they had 2 picks in the first round, the Bengals did. They drafted David Klingler and then Darrell Williams, safety out of Miami.
He's really good. Yeah.
He was really good safety. And then I'm the 3rd pick of the Bengals. So once I get on the phone with him, I'm like, hey, man, what took you guys so long? It frustrated me, but that only went so far because I still had to get into camp and prove myself and prove why, or prove what happened as far as drafting me sooner, But at the end of the day, yeah, it motivated me. I knew I could play. I just needed the opportunity. And now looking back on it, 31 versus 29 or 6, I don't know what would have happened, but I knew I could play. And honestly, it worked out the way it was supposed to, man.
With the now you wound up being the offensive rookie of the year, the AP, which is really impressive as a rookie because your numbers weren't eye popping, but you were a big play guy. Did you feel Did you feel with what was going on that year? Did you think you were going to win it?
I didn't even know what Rookie of the Year was. I had never even heard the term or anything. And honestly, the plaque was just in my locker after I'd won it. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so it was an interesting time. I didn't know I was even in the running. I had 13 catch. Oh no, I had 26 catches, one touchdown, 305 yards maybe. My rookie year, I think the only thing that helped was I caught a touchdown on Sunday night in Chicago from
Oh,
Boomer.
cool.
We beat the Bears, and then I'd returned a punt, and then for a few weeks I was leading the whole league in kickoff return yardage. So that may have helped, but as far as my production as a wideout my rookie year, man, I could get those numbers in 2 games now. I could have, yeah,
Probably today's game is with the
yeah,
rules.
yeah.
So, so in that year, okay, so you know, you sort of grew up in Cincinnati because of your family being there in the summers, but what did you know about the Bengals? You know, in the 80s, I mean, they actually had a really early 80s through late 80s, they were winning, and then things
Yeah.
started to go south a little bit. So, what do you know about the Bengals when you got there?
I didn't know anything about the Bengals as a kid because I was a Steelers fan. You know,
Oh,
Lance Swan was my favorite. You know, the way he could run and jump,
the good
slide.
one.
You
Yeah.
know, I was up there too during the summers because my
Okay.
dad had a sister up there. So he was my favorite. So I wasn't really aware of the Bengals, even though I was there during the summer. It was the off season, so I wouldn't be there during a game or anything. But um, when I got there, I was like, okay, this is home. I pretty much know where everything is because I've been here. But the adjustment really wasn't that bad because I was just there professionally now, so I couldn't really come and go as I pleased and do things that I wanted to do as a kid. But I loved it. I mean, I enjoyed living there. You know, I still go back from time to time.
Good.
Nice city, yeah.
So Boomer Esiason, who's he's a gunslinger. If folks follow his career, Boomer had some games where you go, holy smokes, that's a lot of yardage. So he was getting towards the end of his career there.
Yeah.
He was on the second half of his career. What do you remember about playing with Boomer?
I remember Boomer, our rookie year. Hell of a guy, man. You know, just could just take control of the offense, just take command of the huddle. And at that time, we were running the no huddle and the code words and stuff. And I struggled a lot. I mean, I struggled a lot because it's faster. You know,
Mm.
one or two words, and now you've got to know what to do, read the defense, all this while you're running. And I had a hard time with it. Again, I don't know how I got rookie of the year as far as my receiver stats, but I had a hard time with the offense. And then, but Boomer was patient. You know, he was very patient with me. I guess he saw something in me that he liked, and we got things worked out toward the end of the year. And then he was gone. The next year, David Klingler came in, and we had to learn a new offense. So from that standpoint, we were all learning together, David and myself. So I picked it up my second year, and then the second year in that same offense, that's when I really started to take off.
So it's been often said that between years 1 and 2, there's growth, and then years 2 and 3 at the wide receiver position. Did you feel the jump was because your numbers really took off year 3? What do you think was the breakout for you mentally? Because you talked about the challenges of year 1. When do you think you really got it?
I got it that second year in training camp.
Okay.
Because I was comfortable with the offense. It hadn't changed yet, so I was more mature as a pro. I was learning to be a pro. You know, get just the little things on time, the weight room, make all your meetings, make all your off season adjustments. So I was getting used to becoming a pro, being a pro, and then getting out there into training camps and mini camps and stuff like that, knowing what's going on, knowing the offense, not having to think, just react. Man, I took off. I mean, it was an easier transition after that first year, and then after a couple of camps going into my second year.
So David Klingler was a guy that played in the run and shoot. I think it was John Jenkins maybe was the coach of Houston, if I recall correctly. He did it just it look, they went through some struggles. He didn't make it.
Yeah.
What happened with David Klingler?
Well, honestly, we there was not the protection wasn't that good,
Mm,
you
okay.
know. And when you can't protect him, yeah, it was a run and shoot. He can get out of the pocket and things like that, but he needed some time. I mean, all quarterbacks do. I mean, you've got to have some time, and it's hard to get numbers. You know, when you go three and out a lot, man, it's just hard on David. And you know, he was a hell of a quarterback, and then the offense had to suit him, and I don't think it did. I think I didn't see him running and shooting as much as he did in Houston. He had to learn an offense, same as me. We struggled together. Only you know, Boomer was ahead of him, but he was a hell of a talent. I mean, he threw the ball hard as hell. I mean, he could really sling it. I mean, even a little slant, he was throwing it hard. Even the quick out, I mean, he's throwing it hard. So you really had to concentrate, focus, and catch his ball. But sometimes it just doesn't translate over into the next level, man. I mean, you can be a heck of a college quarterback, receiver, running back, and sometimes you know, far and few in between, your game just doesn't translate to the next level.
So, Carl, you had a 3-year run, and we mentioned the third year, right? 1994, you really started taking off.
Yeah.
Everything was taken off. Touchdowns, receptions, yards per catch, big plays, you name it. I didn't even realize you were a returner earlier in your career. That's interesting, but
Right.
you started killing it. When a receiver is in a zone, when you're putting up massive numbers like this, what happened? You just is the ball look so big? Like, how does it happen?
Um, yes, that when the game slows down for you, it's easier. It's not actually slowing down, but you're just reacting. Like, because I knew everything. I mean, our receiver coach at that time, Richard Williamson, God rest his soul, we had to learn the whole defense, what everybody was doing on defense, not just the corners and the safety. So that helped out a lot. Knowing what their responsibilities are, knowing what their areas are. So that taught me a little bit on how to get open or somehow figure out how to make a play if you're not open. And then Adam, you know, just a little bit of athletic ability, man. I mean, I took it upon myself to figure out ways how to make plays. I thought that I could out jump a lot of people, you know, not necessarily outrun a lot of corners and DBs, but if the ball was in the air, it was just mine. That was my mentality. You know, they call it now 50-50 ball.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, today's lingo is 50-50 ball. Well, it was mine, you know, and you know, I'm gonna make this play. So that was just I mean, I'm sure Rice and you know, Irvin and Chris Carter and those guys,
Sure.
Herman Moore, I'm sure they thought the same thing. Tim Brown, you know.
Was Jeff Blake the perfect quarterback for you? Because that dude could throw the deep ball. How did you guys work together?
Jeff came in from the Jets. He was up there with Bruce Coslett. He came in on the practice squad, and he was making plays down there. And they brought him up. You know, as I alluded to it earlier, Jeff knew the offense from the Jets, so he didn't have to relearn it. So when he came in, we took off, man. And that deep ball, you know, everybody talks about it. It's a mile high.
Yes.
And, you know, it was just giving me an opportunity to get under it, position myself to make a play. And yeah, for about 2 years, 2.5 years, man, we tore it up. I mean, we torched the league. And that after that, you know, they brought Boomer back. So that kind of unsettled Jeff a little bit. And from that point on, we just never regained that momentum and that sustainability.
So, Carl, when you and I met, it's funny. You said to me, "What do you know about me?" And I said, "Okay." You asked, so I went through everything I recall. And then going back, a bunch of decades, and
Yeah,
I knew it was tough to play there. You never had a winning season.
yeah,
You were having a great career. A lot of change, coaching changes, scheme changes, quarterback changes.
quarterback changes.
Now, again, you lived it. I didn't.
Yeah,
People were saying you were malcontent. You weren't happy. I know we know what Corey Dillon's situation,
Yeah.
a lot of losing in the 90s and the 2000s. Let's get to it, man. Point blank. What was it like to play for the Brown family?
Yeah, let's get to that. And I've thought a lot about that, Adam, since we last talked.
Yep.
And I was like, man, yeah, I heard the malcontent a lot. I heard he's the cancer on the team. And I heard all these negative things, but I never really responded to it because I really didn't talk to the media that much because I knew what I was about. I mean, again, look at my numbers, look at my production. And also, I was thinking about this, after we had talked, I was like, malcontent, cancer on the team. Let's focus on those two for a minute. Number one, I was never late in the whole 8 years I was there at Cincinnati. I'd always made my times. I always came to training camp in shape, was never in trouble. So was not a distraction in a bad way. I mean, I was the locker room clown. I mean, I was the guy that was telling jokes on the team bus. I was the guy that was hiding other receivers' shoes. I was the guy that was hiding our offensive linemen's shirts when we do a media deal or something. So I wasn't that guy. So I never really responded to it because the guys in the locker room knew that. No, I mean, not only that, Adam, I was the highest paid guy on the team.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So what do I have to be pissed off about other than just us losing all the time? I'm never going to be happy with losing, and you can't make me. I mean, I'm a competitor. You brought me in here to compete. That's what I do. So, and it's not that the Browns, Mike and his brothers and daughter. It's not that they were doing that. It's just that I'm a competitor. I compete. And I'm not sure what you want me to do and say when we continue to lose and we continue to not bring guys in that can help us out. So for a long time, I just rolled with it and still went out, put my numbers up. And I guess, actions speak louder than words. I let my numbers speak for myself. But it was tough. It was a long, it was tough, and you at that time the Bengals weren't respected at all.
I know.
I mean, we just were not in a good place, and it's not that we didn't have good guys and good talent. For whatever reason, it just never gelled at the right time. We would win the last 3 games of the year, and everybody's happy. We'd win too early on, lose 10 in a row, come back and win 4 in a row, and everybody's happy. 9-7 was my best year in Cincinnati.
So you're going through this, knowing they had real futility, unfortunately, when you were there. Mentally, I would think when you have a job where you can't win, whatever business you're in,
yeah,
no matter how good of a performer you are at your job, but you ultimately want a winning organization.
yeah.
How did that wear on you? How did you go to work every day knowing that you probably weren't going to win?
At some point, it became enough, and there was no amount of money that you can pay me because I had enough. I mean, after the 98 season or 99 season, it was the same old thing from the previous 8 years. And I was under contract because I had signed a contract before. So I'm coming back with a really nice base salary, and I was like, I went into Mr. Brown's office and I was like, Mike, I can't do it, man. I can't come back. And he's like, well, yeah, you can come back here in the contract. And I was like, no, I can't. I just can't. And that was the day he told me to call my agent and call my agent. And I was like, I'm out after this year, man. I mean, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can say. I have to go.
How many years did you have left?
Probably because I tore my groin at the end of the 97 season, probably 2 or 3.
Okay.
maybe two, but it would have to be the right situation though. I had declined, the frustration had caught up with me. I was definitely getting older. I don't know that I would have ever made it back to the Pro Bowl, but I still enjoyed playing. I still thought I could make some plays. But I would have played out the contract that the Bengals had assigned me to, we had a better season in '99.
So, all right, let's get to it. The
Yeah,
so-called Carl Pickens rule, Carl.
yeah,
This now see, I'm just going by what I recall because this is so
yeah,
long ago.
yeah,
Because you were very outspoken
yeah,
about you obviously you could fill in the blanks here because there's a lot to unpack with this thing.
yeah.
How did it come about? Why would they come up with that? And what were you saying about them publicly?
Publicly, I never really spoke to the media that much. Okay, so I guess that's where the malcontent came in. Um, when I had signed the deal in '99,
Okay.
I was told prior to this, we're going to bring guys in, we're going to be better. Okay, we're going to bring, other people in to help out. And then um, that same season, we had signed Bruce Coslet back. We gave him an extension. His record was 18-36. So my question was, how can you bring him back with this record if we're supposed to be moving forward? So it fell on deaf ears. So one day during lunch, I called about 5 or 6 media guys to my locker. And I said, hey, there's like, Pickens, do you want to talk? I was like, yeah, but here's the question you need to ask me. Ask me about them resigning Bruce Coslet. Okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, Carl, how do you just signed Coslet back? How do you feel? This and that. I was like, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I was like, I don't even know if I said it sucks or something. I was like, how can you bring this guy back? He's 18-36 and with this and with that and blah, blah, blah.
You knew the record. It's crazy.
Yeah, I knew the record. Yeah. I mean, because there were some other, coaches out there that, people were coveting and wanting to get and everything.
Sure.
So during practice, they come and get me out of practice and march me up to Mike Brown's office.
The owner. Yeah.
The owner, yes, the owner of the
Mentioned
Bengals,
that. Yep.
Mike Brown.
Yep.
So they have this apology already written for me. You need to say this, or we're taking away your signing bonus and this and that. And I was like, but these are not even my words. What do you? I'm not saying that. And it's like, well, you need to call your agent. So I called my agent, Steve Zucker, at the time. He's like, yeah, go ahead and sign it and apologize. He said the damage is already done, and we'll figure something out at the end of the season. So from that point on, that became the Carl Pickens clause, I guess, in everybody's contract. You can't publicly voice your opinion about the team or the organization, and that's fine, But what are we supposed to do? Be quiet and be happy about losing? I mean, if you don't voice your opinion or if you don't speak up, everybody assumes that you're okay with it, and I wasn't.
Did you ask for a trade?
No, I didn't ask for a trade, but
Interesting. Why not?
well, here's what happened.
Okay.
In that same meeting, I told Mr. Brown, Mike Brown, that you can either cut me or trade me. I won't be back next year. Even though you signed me to the money and the deal and the years in this, I won't be back. He's like, oh, yeah, you'll be back. So I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done. This is definitely my last year. He's like, well, I've been here, 30 some years and I've struggled and this and that. And I was like, well, I've been here 8 and I can't take it anymore. So he assumed that I would be back. And I didn't care what it cost me at that time. I wasn't going back. So they released me. Yeah, they released me. They drafted Peter Ward that next draft. And some other guys after that. But yeah, they eventually released me. But it wasn't like I just wanted to win. I mean, I just wanted to be. I mean, I saw my contemporaries, winning, making, big time plays. Herman Moore
Yeah.
and Rob Moore and Andre Rison and just a bunch of guys that are just having success that comes along with winning. And I can't have that because I'm here in this situation. But at the end of the day, I thank the Bengals for drafting me, giving me an opportunity to play.
Couple things here. So you would go the next year after the 99 season, you went to the Titans. So were you with the Titans the whole season?
I was with the Titans the whole season. I got hurt. I had tore my hamstring after the third game of the year,
Hmm.
so I missed the next 9.
Oh,
And then after that, I wasn't the same. I mean, I was never really that fast. And then I tear my hamstring, and then I'm going to be even slower. So it's like this is not going to work. Yeah.
but you made the playoffs though, right? You were the
Yeah, yeah. I made the playoffs. I got to sit on the bench the whole game. I got a few snaps in
All
against.
right.
I think it was. No, we lost the playoff game to Baltimore. They went on and
Okay.
won the Super Bowl that year.
Oh wow, yeah, it's 2000. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So,
That's right.
but to win 13 games in 1 year, man, I was like, this
There you
is.
go.
Yeah.
Before we get to today's Bengals, which is fascinating, but when do you know as a football player, particularly a receiver, when do you know it's, you know what, I'm pretty much done? How do you know?
For me, it was. I couldn't run. Even though I mean I could run, but I didn't have like blazing speed. So I relied on just getting open and making plays. And honestly, playing 8 years, it wore me out. I was tired, and I knew it was time. I had just had a daughter. My daughter was born in July of 2000,
Nice.
and it just everything just fell into place. I had had enough. I'd had a good career. I got 9 solid years in, and I'm like, okay, this is enough. I want to do something else. Football didn't actually consume me, so it's easy for me to walk away. Had we won 13, 14 games every year, it's hard to walk away from success. So I just felt like the time was right, and it was an easy transition, man. I looked forward to retirement. I looked forward to kind of doing what I wanted to do, and it worked out for the most part. But I think you'll know. And some guys try to hang on, but I knew.
Sky Motor Cars in Westchester is a different sort of dealership. All it takes is one look at their Highline pre-owned vehicles that people all over the country want and need. Owner Brett Schiller makes sure you don't spend a dime of your money before you purchase the car. Sky Motor Cars allows you to make all the decisions regarding your next vehicle. At Sky Motor Cars, you never have to spend more than necessary. Visit SkyMotorCars.com today or call 610-918-7225.
So since you retired, you're a golf guy because it seems like a lot of former players play golf. What are your interests off the field?
Yeah, I play golf. When my back is feeling halfway decent, I ride motorcycles, I ride horses, I camp out. I'm just trying to do things now just to stay active and stay busy. I don't work, so I've got to find other things to
Hmm.
pass the time of day. But mainly, just I try to play golf as when I can or when I feel like it, and then riding my horse and my Harley.
How about martial arts? Is that in
Oh
your
yeah,
background?
yeah. I do a lot of martial arts because of the stretching. I'm doing Krav Maga right now. It's an Israeli martial arts, and I'm doing Wing Chun. It's a form of martial arts that Bruce Lee made popular. So I'm doing a little
Wow,
bit of that.
nice.
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the cardio aspect of it, and like I said, the stretching is good for these old bones and
That's
joints.
right.
So I'm doing that as well. Yeah.
All right, so let's fast forward to today's Bengals. So, Carl, I've always felt if you were playing in today's NFL, you're going to be making 35 to 40 million a year, no question, in the prime of your career. Well, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins just got paid. You play for the Bengals, you know Mike Brown, you know the Brown family. when they step it up and decide they're going to pay these guys, what was your reaction? What were your thoughts when it happened?
I thought they are serious about winning. I mean, they got a taste of it a couple of years ago when they got to the Super Bowl. And in order for you to have some continuity, you've got to keep your core guys together. And those three are the core. You know, Higgins, Chase, and Burrow. They're the core, especially on offense. So if you bring those guys back, you know, they're the cohesive group, and then everything else you can build around them. I thought it was great. I mean, I thought, you know, Higgins is the number one on any other team. You know, they're calling him 1A, 1B. That's fine, but those guys will play off of each other, man. You need a good, solid receiver on the other side of you, regardless if you're first or second, you know, first guy or second guy. You need that because defenses are going to have a hard time figuring out who they're gonna double or shade the coverage to.
What do you like so much about Jamar Chase's game?
Jamar Chase, he's a solid receiver. He runs good routes. He makes catches with his hands. He knows how to catch the ball. And Joe puts it right there, you know, keeps him safe. And he's a playmaker. I mean, he's not afraid to go across the middle. He's just seems to be in the right spot at the right time. He's fast, and he enjoys playing the game. You can see the enthusiasm, you know, throughout the games when he's doing his thing.
Are there any players when you watch games go, I like that guy? Any particular receivers around the NFL you like?
Yeah, the two we just mentioned, I like DK Metcalf a lot. He's a big guy. He can run. I like his game a lot. He's just he's solid. I mean, he is 200 and some pounds of just stick muscle. He's quick, you know, he can catch the ball really well, and he's definitely capable of, you know, running after the catch rack.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you gotta have good. Now he's going to Pittsburgh. We'll see what the quarterback situation, you know, looks like.
Yeah,
they got to figure that out.
He'll be able to pick that offense up and continue where he left off.
Yep. So, looking at your Bengals before we get out of here, and we appreciate you coming on our show today. What are your thoughts about them going forward here? You mentioned Burrow. They got the receivers. What needs to happen to get them back to? Let's not forget, it wasn't too long ago they were in the Super Bowl. What's got to happen for them to get back?
They just have to play more consistently. I mean, if you look at the last couple of seasons, sometimes it's like they don't finish well. I mean, you've got to play 60 minutes. If it's you know, a silly turnover here or there, or an offsides or a holding or a penalty that's just going to set you back, just clean up the little things. I mean, these guys are capable of making some serious plays and a run deep into the playoffs. It's just the little things that just set them back at times, and just, you know, pay more. Not that they're not doing it now, but just pay attention to detail. I mean, and I think a lot of things have fallen in place. I mean, we caught some bad breaks this year, but for the most part, just keep on doing what you're doing. Just do it better, man. And I mean, good things are going to happen.
Yeah, they are competitive. In fact, that it's funny you mention the issue about finishing. They got up against the Eagles very early, and then they got taken to the woodshed after that in the second half. So there you go. You heard it from Carl. Who knows? If you finish, you probably will win.
Yeah, Carl, got to finish.
Yep, you got to finish. Carl, thank you so much. We appreciate it. For Carl Pickens, I am Adam Caplan. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you, Adam.